everyone, my name is Emily. I am a certified health and wellness coach with HealthMed, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about stress. Basically, just different types of stress, what happens to our body during stress, and some things that we can do to help better manage our stress. So, what is stress? Stress is our mental, physical, emotional, and behavioral reaction to any perceived demand or threat. And stress is a normal human reaction that happens to everyone. In fact, our body is actually designed to experience stress and react to it. Whenever you sense danger, whether it's real or imagined, the body's defenses kick in high gear in a rapid automatic process known as the fight or flight reaction or the stress response. And you may have heard those terms before. The stress response is just the body's way of protecting you. When working properly, it helps you stay focused, energetic, and alert. And in emergency situations, stress can actually save your life, giving you extra strength to defend yourself and things like that. So, for example, whenever you slam on your brakes to avoid a car accident, that's an example of stress helping you in an emergency situation. But stress can become a problem and stressors continue without relief periods or relaxation. There are a few different types of stress, but the main two that I want to focus on today are acute stress and chronic stress. And basically, acute stress is just short-term stress, and chronic stress is long-term stress. And a couple of examples of acute stress would be any stress you suffer from for a short period of time, like a traffic jam or getting in an argument with your spouse. But let's say you're a bus driver and you get stuck in numerous traffic jams every day, or you're in a bad relationship and you argue with your spouse constantly. These are all examples of acute stress that can turn into chronic stress. And our body is good at handling episodes of acute stress. We're designed to recover quickly from that short-term stress. Your blood pressure, your heart rate, breathing rate, and levels of muscle tension may skyrocket for a short while when we're experiencing acute stress. But if you're young, healthy, and in good shape, these markers of stress will quickly return back to their normal levels. Now, our body isn't so great at handling chronic stress. Over time, chronic stress gradually will increase your resting heart rate, blood pressure, breathing rate, and levels of muscle tension, so the body now has to work even harder when it's at rest to keep you functioning normally. So why do we stress out? The situations and pressures that cause stress in our life are known as stressors. And we usually think of stressors as being negative, such as an exhausting work schedule or a rocky relationship. However, anything that puts high demands on you can be stressful. And this includes positive events such as getting married, buying a house, going to college, or receiving a promotion. And not all stress is caused by external factors. Stress can also be caused by internal or self-generated factors. For example, when you worry excessively about something that may or may not happen, or have irrational pessimistic thoughts about life. And finally, what causes stress depends at least in part on your perception of it. Something that's stressful to you may not faze someone else. For example, while some of us are terrified of getting up in front of people to perform or speak, others might live for the spotlight or really enjoy that. And where one person might thrive under pressure and perform best in the face of a tight deadline, another might shut down when work demands escalate. And an interesting thing about stress is that our perceptions equal how stressed we feel. We often identify specific events, people, or situations that seem to make us feel stressed. It's as if these things automatically cause us to feel stressed out. But in reality, if you really think about it, it's how we perceive an event, the meaning we give to it, that leads us to feel stressed or not stressed about it. So let's talk a little bit about what happens to our body during stress. Like a car, your brain has an engine, and it's called the autonomic nervous system. The body's autonomic nervous system controls your heart rate, breathing, vision, and you guessed it, stress. So this autonomic nervous system revs up whenever there's stress. It has a built-in stress response called the fight or flight response that we spoke a little bit about earlier, and this helps the body face stressful situations. Now, in the days of the cavemen, the fight or flight response was key to their survival. When faced with a threatening tiger, for instance, a caveman had two choices. He could fight the tiger or he could run away. But either way, his body had to prepare quickly to respond. The caveman's heart rate began to race, his breathing rate increased, his pupils dilated, his muscles became tense, and his mind processed information more rapidly. This natural response to danger helped the caveman protect himself and survive. But nowadays, those prehistoric tigers are replaced by tigers that roam in our minds. Fears, fear of failure, fear of rejection, loneliness, a toxic work environment, a long to-do list. And you can't run away from those fears in your mind. They're with you all the time. So what happens is your body goes into this fight or flight mode all the time, and it becomes your new norm. So your engine is revving up all the time, and you're bombarded with stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, and they can wreak havoc on your body. Studies show that 75% of symptoms that doctors treat can be traced back to excessive stress. And eventually these symptoms can lead to serious life-threatening diseases such as diabetes, depression, heart attack, and even cancer. So there's an undeniable mind-body connection when it comes to stress and disease. So today we want to talk about how to use your mind to stress-proof your body. So I want to briefly go over identifying the signs of stress. One of the most dangerous things about stress is how easily it can creep up on you. You just kind of get used to it. It starts to feel familiar and even normal. And a lot of times you don't notice how much it's affecting you, even as it takes a heavy toll. So that's why it's really important to be aware of the common warning signs and symptoms of stress overload. And some of these common signs include constant headache, trouble concentrating, muscle tension, anger, anxiety, weight gain or loss, stomach problems, and more. So if you feel like you're having signs of excessive stress, be sure to talk with your doctor about this. So I want to talk a little bit about addressing the stress. So it's really important to recognize your emotions and how your body feels, to know how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. Sometimes just admitting that a situation is stressful and preparing to deal with it can really help to reduce your anxiety and stress. Once you recognize that you're having some symptoms of stress and anxiety, you can take charge of it by addressing it and trying to reduce those symptoms. And there are a lot of options for this, such as exercise, meditation, getting organized, taking some time for yourself, getting the right support, and changing your perspective. So next, we're really going to dive into those ways that we can address the stress and give you some tips on how to reduce the stress in your daily life. The first suggestion to reduce stress is to find social support. It's important to speak with friends, family, a teacher, a counselor, or just someone you trust, because sometimes we just need to vent or get something off our chest. And expressing our feelings can be relieving. We can feel supported by others, and it can help us to work out our own problems. Next is to know which relationships increase your stress. We all might have relationships that cause us to feel a little bit stressed out sometimes. So it's important to realize those, recognize those, and maybe put boundaries on those certain relationships. Also, it's important to help others. Check in with other people. We all go through stressful times, and it's important to have support. We're not meant to go through those stressful times alone. So check in with your people, and also ask what you're doing to nurture your own relationships. The next suggestion is to get organized. Getting organized is a way of taking control of what you can control, and being unorganized or engaging in poor planning often leads to frustration, which most always leads to feeling stressed. So when we're thinking about getting organized, a good place to start is by prioritizing your space. Decide which areas are the most worthy of your time. For some people, it may be their computers, while others may be far more stressed out by the stack of mail sitting on the kitchen table. So whatever space causes you the most stress should be the space you tackle first. And you can also set restrictive limits that can help with this. For example, setting a limit of only opening 10 unopened letters at a time, or spending 10 minutes before you start your day doing some organizational skills. Next is to organize your time. Now, how many of us find ourselves constantly rushing around? Maybe our mind is racing with all we have to do, and you might have trouble remembering all the things that you have to do. If this sounds like you, then you already know that living like this can be pretty stressful. So that's why getting organized with your time can make such a huge impact on your life. Your to-do list can all get done, and it can stop occupying your thoughts. So in getting your schedule organized, there's a few important things to remember. First, try not to overbook yourself. Try and plan only as many activities as you have time for. And also be aware of what you need to get done and when, and in a way other than keeping it all in your head. So I recommend maybe writing things down in a calendar or something like that. And finally, it's important to schedule in some downtime. If you're always running, 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 then you're going to be less efficient overall because you're tired from all the running. So try and schedule in some downtime. And when I say downtime, I don't mean time for chores and errands and things like that. I'm talking about actually making time for relaxing and doing something you actually enjoy. And it doesn't have to be long. 30 minutes and a cup of tea on your back porch might be plenty for you. But just try not to blow yourself off because you get busy. You have to respect your time as much as you do everyone else's. And when you treat yourself as a priority, you'll be much able to get organized and, of course, reduce your stress levels. Lastly is to be proactive. It's important to notice and eliminate patterns of stressors so that your stress response isn't constantly triggered. A couple examples. For one, if you're having trouble with your kids, don't just face each situation like it's happened for the first time. Try to notice patterns of behavior and address those patterns so they won't keep happening. Another example is if you find yourself constantly stressed in traffic. Try to pinpoint why and address those issues. It's also really important to take care of yourself. When we feel overwhelmed, we tend to eat poorly, sleep less, stop exercising, and generally push ourselves harder. And this can tax our immune system and cause us to become ill more easily. But if we take good care of ourselves to begin with, we will be better prepared to manage stress and accomplish our tasks in the long run. And the first tip for taking care of yourself is to eat regularly. Our brain needs glucose to work at its best, and eating regularly throughout the day helps to keep your blood glucose stable. Studies have shown that a more stable glucose level is associated with better academic performance. Next is to get your healthy fats, such as your omega-3 fatty acids. These are found in different foods, such as walnuts, flax seeds, olive oils, deep sea fish, blueberries, and things like that. And omega-3 fatty acids are associated with brain function, and deficiencies of this fatty acid can result in depression and anxiety. It's also important to consider trading in caffeine for more sleep. So caffeine leads to increased blood pressure and may make you anxious, especially if you're already prone to anxiety. And while consuming caffeine may seem to help you concentrate better, some studies show that caffeine only restores what is lost through lack of sleep. So instead of turning to caffeine, try the natural grade booster, which is sleep. It's also a good idea to stock up on healthy snacks during stressful times. So if you're super busy or if you know that a stressful time is approaching, prepare by stocking up on quick, healthy snacks. And look for healthy snacks that are high in protein and fiber. Some examples are granola, almonds, peanuts, carrots and hummus, or yogurt with fresh fruit. Another key part of taking care of yourself is to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Taking time to relax and wind down before bed is important to sleeping well and eliminating the stress of the day. A period of quiet time before bedtime can allow you to step away from your daily worries and set them aside before sleep. So try taking a warm bath or shower or doing some light stretching before bed to help improve your quality of sleep. Another really great suggestion for helping to reduce stress is to get regular exercise. Exercise is really effective at helping us reduce fatigue, improve alertness, concentration, and enhance our overall cognitive function. And this can be especially helpful when stress has depleted your energy or ability to concentrate. Exercise also produces endorphins, which makes us feel really good and helps us to sleep better. And even just about 5 minutes of exercise can begin to stimulate anti-anxiety and anti-stress effects. But we all know that it can be hard to fit exercise into a busy schedule, so I wanted to share some tips on some good ways to do that. Number one is to exercise in short bursts. Even brief bouts of physical activity offer benefits. So for example, if you can't fit in one 30-minute walk during your day, try 2 to 3 10-minute walks instead. Being active throughout the day can add up to provide really good health benefits. So take a mid-morning or afternoon break, move, stretch, go for a walk, or maybe do some squats at your desk. You can also try interval training. or high intensity interval training, which entails brief bursts of intense activity at almost full effort. And this is a safe, effective way to gain many of the benefits of longer duration exercise, but in a really short amount of time. Another good tip is to find a friend. Knowing that someone is waiting for you to show up at the gym or at the park can be a powerful incentive. So try making plans to meet a friend for a walk or a workout. Working out with a friend, a coworker, or family member often brings a new level of motivation and commitment to your workouts, and it can make it a lot more fun. Another good tip is to set SMART goals. So the SMART acronym stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-limited goals. So for example, if your primary goal is to work on reducing stress in your life, you can set a SMART goal that would be committing to walking during your lunch hour 3 times a week, or committing to doing an online fitness video at home 2 times a week. You just want to make sure it's realistic and specific. Another good idea is to pencil in exercise. So in your schedule, you might need to do a morning workout one day and an evening activity the next. But carving out some time to move every day helps you to make your exercise program a priority, and really getting ahead of it and scheduling it out maybe a week in advance can really help you stay organized and stick with your activity. Walk before you run, and that just means to build up your fitness level gradually. Excitement about a new program can lead to overdoing it and possibly even injury, so you want to start slow, and then you can kind of build your exercise up as you go. And lastly, and probably the most important one, is to do what you love. Find an activity that you love. Almost any form of exercise can increase your fitness level while decreasing your stress. But the most important thing is to pick an activity that you enjoy. And the reason for that is because you're more likely to stick with it. Some examples include walking, running, dancing, bicycling, yoga, tai chi, gardening, weightlifting, swimming. There's a numerous amount of things that you can do. So just find something you love, and again, you're more likely to stick with that. And just remember that you don't have to join a gym to get moving. You can take a walk with your dog, try body weight exercises at home, or do a yoga video at home. But whatever it is, make sure it's something that you enjoy so you're not dreading it. You're actually looking forward to it. The next suggestion that I want to talk about is to try relaxation exercises. And deep breathing is probably the fastest way to help you relax. And so whenever we're stressed, we tend to have shallow breaths. So deep breathing is really good because it can help to add oxygen to your bloodstream and help to clear your mind. So one effective method is the 4-7-8 method. So for this one, you'll sit up in your chair with your feet flat on the floor and place your hands on top of your knees. And you'll breathe in while counting to 4 slowly, expand your lungs fully, hold for 7 counts, and then exhale slowly while counting to 8. And you can repeat this 3 to 5 times or as much as you need. But again, this is just a good way to quickly help you relax. Another relaxation practice is mindfulness meditation. And this involves sitting comfortably, focusing on your breathing, and bringing your mind's attention to the present moment without drifting into concerns about the past or future. And this form of meditation has become increasingly popular in recent years, and research suggests that it may be helpful for people with anxiety, depression, and pain. So these are 2 really good ways to help you relax. Sometimes meditation and breathing exercises, that can sound kind of daunting. So if you don't know where to start, there are many free apps you can use to help get you started with meditation and deep breathing. For example, first we have the Motivation Alliance, which is your wellness program. There are lots of different guided meditations on there. And then you have different apps that you can use. A few are listed here. We have Complete Relaxation, Calm, Insight Timer, Headspace, and the Mindfulness app. So all of these have some really good guided meditation. They can help you with breathing exercise and better sleep. So these are really great free resources that you can use to help better relax. Lastly, I want to talk about how we can change our attitude towards stress. Our attitude has a profound effect on how we deal with different situations. Negative attitudes affect our physical, spiritual, and mental well-being. So whenever you're in a particularly stressful situation, a first tip is to try exchanging attitude for gratitude. When you're running late for a meeting because you're stuck in traffic, change your attitude. Instead of being frustrated about the traffic, find some gratitude in that moment. Look around and think of all the things you can be thankful for. Sometimes you can find gratitude in the smallest things. You can be thankful for life, health, strength, friends, family, nature, and more. So focus on that gratitude. It can help to change your attitude. And a lot of people find it helpful to jot down a few things each day that you're thankful for. Next is to remember that no one or nothing can make you feel anything. How you feel and the way you deal with a situation is a choice. I'm reminded of a counselor who would often state, "No one can drive your car unless you give them the keys." You cannot control others' actions, but you can be responsible for your own actions. Look at each situation and ask yourself, is this something I can change? If so, start exploring positive ways to change the situation. If the situation cannot be changed, such as an illness or the economy, accept it for what it is. Accepting does not mean giving up. By accepting the situation and finding ways you can cope with what cannot be changed, stress can drastically be reduced. Next is to look at the big picture. Evaluate your stressful situation from a big picture point of view. Ask yourself, how important is this? And will this matter in the long run? If the answer is no, it's most likely not worth your time and energy. So just on a final note, just remember that stress does not have to consume your life. Successful stress management is all about learning how and when to take control. It's important to remember that you can control how stress affects you. You can control the stress or let the stress control you.